Hey YouTube, I am back. I am back. Before we dig in, of course, you're going to get tired of me saying this, but I have to. Please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, thank you. If you're a new subscriber, I love you. Thank you. If you've been rocking me with me for a long time, thank you. But if this is your first time, please click that subscribe button. Okay, anywho, so we've gotten that out the way. So you guys all know what I'm here for. Yes, once again, another one of them Tyler Perry shows. I just be hooked on these soap opera dramas. If Loving You Is Wrong, this is season 3. I believe it's episode 13, titled The Papers. Dun dun dun. Okay, anywho, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this wasn't my favorite episode, but whatever. It wasn't a bad episode, okay? So let's just get on started, okay? So, of course, like all Tyler Perry shows, it started off where it left off, and I like that because I forget. But anywho, so it starts off in the interrogation room with Kelly and a detective and Lucien, and it's basically repeating the last line she said. Oh, he's dead. At this point, she's found out that Travis is dead. The detective is like, yes, so you're under arrest. So Lucien, at this point he's leaving out. She's like, Lucien, I don't want you to leave. I need you to stay here with me. But he's like, look, I'm gonna go try to take care of this. I'm gonna go make some phone calls. I don't know why your lawyer's not here, but let me go figure this out. Okay. As soon as he leaves out the room, the detective is like, okay, so do you have anything to say to me? So, of course, she was told not to say anything until a lawyer gets here. But under pressure, Kelly is cracking because, she's not the sharpest tool in the shed, especially on this show. And she's like, well, he started walking up to my window and it all just happened. And I'm like, Kelly, stop talking. Like, how many times did you say you weren't going to talk? How many times did Lucien tell you not to talk? And now, as soon as Lucien leaves out the room, it's like first 48. And it didn't even take them an hour to get to you. I mean, seriously, you immediately started talking. So, anywho, she jumps back to her senses and she's like, no, never mind. I'm not talking unless I have a lawyer. And he said, you don't have a lawyer. She said, yes, I do. Ian is representing me. He said, no, we actually received word from his office this morning that he will no longer be representing you. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, so are you sure you don't have anything to say? She's like, look, I'm not saying anything without a lawyer. He said, okay, Kelly, but I'm telling you that refusing to speak makes you look guilty. And she's like, I'm not talking without my lawyer. And I'm like, finally, some sense here, Kelly. Okay, so then, Kelly is all like, has this crying face. It probably sounds a lot like my sick voice. And she's like, I'm not talking. I know my rights. I need a lawyer. I'm not talking without my lawyer. And he's like, look, fine, okay, your lawyer's not here. But until your lawyer gets here, I'm going to give you a jail cell. How about that? Because in the meantime, you are under arrest. So she's like freaking out, like backing into a corner, but the inevitable is about to happen, and she's going to get in a cell. Okay, so at this point, the detective goes into the hallway and he gets Lucien's attention because he confronts him like, why are you helping her? And then Lucien is like, dude, I know her. Like, she didn't do this. Like, she's not this type of person. He's like, what, are you her lawyer? He said, no, but I'm her friend and I know her well enough to know that this is outside of her character. And then the detective says, well, why don't you let me help her? And then Lucien was like, no, you can't do that. Lawyer's like, and the detective is like, why not? Lucien says, bro, what church do you go to? The detective is like, I see you've been doing your homework. Actually, I don't go to church. And so Lucien says, okay, well, what church does your wife go to? And then he's like, she goes to Calvary. He said exactly the same church as Travis's family. So no, you cannot help her. It's a conflict of interest. And I'm like, dang, like, Travis's family's church must be like huge and they're connected to everybody in the community. This is why literally Travis got away with murder, the murder of Ramsey, because his family is so well connected. So They come to the conclusion that no matter how long it takes, Lucien is going to get her help. The detective is going to wait for her lawyer, and he cannot take a statement from her until her lawyer gets here. Okay, so then we go back to Brad and Alex's house. Y'all, I can't even decide who is my most least favorite person on this show. Right now, as far as male characters, and this probably says a lot because I really don't like Eddie, but I really don't like Brad's character. Like, he is acting like... Y'all, let me get to him. I understand. He's acting like how most women would act that have been cheated on, but he's just being utterly ridiculous. So he's outside of his house because he's mad at Alex because he thinks that Alex told Marcy's husband that they are expecting a baby together. Okay, so we know that's not true, but that's what he believes at this point. So he walks over to Randall's house and literally just like stares at his house. Well, he knows that Randall is always waiting and watching because he loves drama. So Randall opens up the window and he's like, dude, you better get off my yard. And he's like, I'm not on your side of the yard. I'm on my side of the yard. And it's like, Brad, when did you start taunting Randall? Like, you know Randall doesn't stop. So, like, why are you playing his game now? Because this isn't going to get anywhere. So Randall is like, you are going to move or I'm going to call the police. And he said, go ahead and call the police. Okay, so Brad turns around. He gets some common sense. He starts walking back into the house because just like somebody who has been cheated on and who is scorned, he wants to start another fight with Alex. And he's like, you know what? I just can't believe that he goes in the house and starts arguing with her. I can't believe that you would really do that. You would really go and tell Randall that Marcy is pregnant with his baby. She's like, look, I don't know how many times I have to tell you. I don't know how many different languages. Maybe I can learn sign language. Maybe you can read some Braille. I don't know. Like, maybe we can do some like hooks on phonics. I don't know any other way. I can speak in tongues to tell you that I did not do this. You can believe Randall all you want, but Randall is a liar. I have nothing to do with Randall. I have not talked to Randall. I don't want anything to do with him. What can I do to get you to believe me? And Brad is like, you can't do anything because I don't believe you. And, you know, I don't believe you. And she's like, Brad, I'm your wife. And he's like, well, that didn't matter in the past. And I'm like, dude, okay, you are acting like a scorned woman because you decided to get back with her. Like, I feel like I have to have this conversation with Brad, even though Brad is an imaginary character or he's not in real life. I have to have this conversation about him every single week. He decided to get back with her, so he needs to be with her. If you want to be with Marcy, then move in with Marcy, okay? And take Marcy's side and marry Marcy. But since you're with Alex, stop bringing up the past. Whatever the case, he's driving me insane. He's like, that didn't matter in the past. You've lied to me before. And she's like, look, plain and simple, I don't want to live each day like this, okay? You're upsetting me. You're upsetting the baby. And then they show, like, they angle the camera at the baby, and the baby is a black baby. So if this baby is not Randall's baby, yeah, something else is gonna surface. Like, I don't know who else's baby that could be. It has to be Randall's baby, but who knows? Maybe I bet the baby was switched at the hospital. I don't know. But, you know, you see the baby. You see she's connected to the baby. So she says, you're upsetting the baby. And then Brad says, yeah, his baby. And it's like, dude, you cannot be just like all negative towards the baby and stuff and just like writing the baby off. So y'all don't need to be together. Whatever the case, she's like, look, plain and simple, I don't know another way to say it, and I'm not going to be able to convince you. And he's like, yeah, because I'm going to believe what I want to believe and I don't believe you. And then he's like, I don't think I can do this anymore. And she's like, look, you can't keep confusing me and confusing our kids. You can't come in and out. Like, you really need to figure out what you want to do because at this point, there's nothing else to say. And I'm like, finally, girl, like, stop chasing after him. Anywho. So, then we get to Esperanza. Esperanza is at the police station. She goes up to Lucien's desk to ask Lucien what's going on with Kelly. Then Stephen walks up behind her. Then her phone conveniently rings and she says she has to walk away. Okay, because she has to get this call. So, Then Stephen asks Lucien, like, how's it going? Then Lucien is like, it's fine. How are you and Esperanza? And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, trust me, I saw you giving her those sex eyes yesterday when you came to the house late at night after all that stuff happened with Eddie. Like, clearly something is going on with y'all. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Lucian's like, okay, well, when you feel comfortable and you're ready to let me know what's going on, you'll let me know. Okay, so whatever. So then Esperanza comes back and she's asking about Kelly. And oh wait, before it gets to that part, he says that Kelly needs a lawyer, and Stephen said he will make a few calls for her lawyer. And then what's her face? Lucien was like, Esperanza, you need to talk to Stephen. Okay. So then Esperanza goes to talk to Stephen. She was going to talk about the case, but Stephen is like, hey, can I take you out to dinner tonight? And she's like, are you serious? My friend is in jail. Like, there's so much going on, and you're asking to take me out to dinner? And he's like, well, yeah, why not? She's like, you're just being so insensitive. Whatever the case, that's perfect timing. Eddie walks in. And of course, Eddie thinks that Esperanza is like his property because he has a baby by her. A baby that's what, like 10 or something at this point. So he's like, what are you guys talking about? What's going on with you guys? Well, Esperanza, like, doesn't even want to be bothered. So Esperanza walks out. And then, so Stephen is like taunting Eddie. Like, yeah, I've seen much more of Esperanza than you think. And Eddie is like, oh yeah, you really want to try me? You must not know me. You must not know my reputation. And Stephen is like, no, I fully know you. And then he said, well, you must not know what kind of crazy I am. And then, so Stephen is like, look, it takes one to know one. I'm just as crazy. We can go toe to toe because you don't scare me. So at this point, they're exchanging words back and forth. But we know that Eddie is always going to try to have the last laugh at all costs because he's evil. But Stephen even says, you know, he's patient and he's tactful. So he can be just as slick as Eddie. So we'll see where this goes. So he tells him to get out of here. Eddie walks away. Okay, so then it gets to Ian. Ian calls Marcy. He wants to meet her at noon so they can sign some papers. I think a contract for his house. Okay, so then this conversation is going on. Then Marcy gets out of her car. She walks up to Brad with the car keys to his car. Brad told Marcy, okay, this is a really important part. Brad started telling Marcy that Alex told Randall about Marcy's baby. At this point, Marcy knows that Larry is the one that is responsible. However, she sees how upset Brad is and how Brad is like, I can't believe that Alex would do a thing like this. I can't be with her. I can't live here anymore. Hey, if you don't mind, I'll come back to the place that we got together. I just don't want to be here. I don't want to be with that type of person. Just totally turning on his wife altogether. Marcy even tried to jump in and tell him the truth, but he wasn't having it because his mind was already made up. So then Marcy's like, look, I'll just go with it because this benefits me. So this story is getting messier and messier. And next thing you know, he'll be mad at Marcy because she didn't speak up and say anything. Brad is like bipolar. He's all over the place. Okay, so she's happy to know that he's thinking about leaving because then she feels like she has a chance with him. So Larry calls Lucien. Then Lucien calls Ian because Kelly needs a lawyer. And Ian at this point is like, look, I can't help her, but I have a really good referral for a lawyer. I'm going to text you that information, and hopefully you can get her hooked up with a really good lawyer. He's just as good as me. I promise it'll be worth it. She doesn't owe me any money. Okay, so that was quick and out the way. There's a quick little scene where Esperanza goes to the jail cell to visit Kelly. Kelly is really nervous. She even says out loud, like, I shouldn't have shot him. Esperanza is like, calm down, girl. Don't say anything to me. Not out loud. Not right here, okay? He provoked you, okay? this is all gonna get handled. It's gonna get settled. I'll pick up justice from school. I won't tell him where you are. Everything's gonna be okay. But do not talk to anybody here. Do not talk until a lawyer gets here, please. So she's schooling her and basically telling her to stay calm. So Esperanza has her smart moments in this show. Okay, so next thing you know, Marcy shows up to Ian's office to bring the contracts to him for him to sign. At this point, the inspection has been completed. Everything was good to go. He's ready to move into the house. He's really excited because he'll be moved into his house before his kids come stay with him for the summer. So she's like, wow, you're a really good dad. And he's like, I wouldn't say all that, but, I'm trying. So I'm like, okay, that's real honest. And even after him saying that statement with Marcy being pregnant, she's like still attracted to him. Although clearly there may be some type of mystery as to the reason why he doesn't think that he's that great of a dad. But we'll get to that eventually. So next thing you know, Larry. Okay, so Larry walks in. Now, mind you, this whole time they were trying to speed up the scene because she did not want to bump into Larry because she's upset with Larry. But Larry walks in. He has this smirk on his face and everything. He knows that, not Esperanza, he knows that Marcy is really upset with him. But he's like, look, trust me, you won't be upset with me. I will get Randall to sign those papers today, no matter what. And then you can fire me as a lawyer. So then he walks out laughing. So at this point, Ian is like, the guy is crazy. He drives me insane, but he's really good at his job. And she's like, yeah, that's true. He is. So after, it's a relaxed, calming environment after Larry has left, Ian, he just is like, let me put all my eggs in one basket. Look, I want to take you out on a date tonight. I want to celebrate my getting this new house, and I will not accept no for an answer. Please let me pick you up for a date. So she's like, oh, okay. Okay, so Brad is going to get jealous because Brad feels like Marcy is his woman too. And the moment Brad finds out about Ian, it's going to be a problem. The moment that Brad sees Marcy at Ian's house, because she will end up at his house across the street, it'll be a problem. But we shall see, like I said. Okay, so anyways, Eddie, we go back to the police station. We see Eddie in the office at the same time as Lucien. He goes up to Lucien and genuinely thanks him for saving him that night, getting him out of that crazy situation with Larry and with Randall, because he called so many people and he's burned so many bridges that nobody wanted to help him. But Lucien, he's like, Lucien, you're a good dude and you really helped me, and that means a lot and I really appreciate it, and just know one day you're gonna need me and I'm gonna be there for you. And Lucien is like, look, I'm just doing my job. I still don't like you, no nothing. I don't trust you, nothing. As a matter of fact, where's Andrew? So Eddie is like, Lucien, you're trying to be funny. I don't know where Andrew is. I told you my uncle must have had him, the crocodiles or something. He's like, exactly. So like I said, I was doing my job. I still don't like you. And Eddie said, well, look, I appreciate you helping me, okay? Like I said once before, I'll say it again, you're a good person and I'll be there to help you in the future. He keeps asking, where's Andrew? Eddie keeps ignoring him and going on to new subjects. Who knows if we'll ever find out where Andrew is. Okay, so he's also, the intentions of Eddie talking to Lucien was to find out if Lucien was going to write a police report from what happened last night and what details was he going to put into the report. He's basically trying to get Lucien on his side so it doesn't make him look bad. Okay, so then we go over to Larry. Larry knocks on Randall's door, goes inside, and then he has papers for him to sign. 2 sets of papers, one for the lawsuit to sue Brad for knocking down that ladder. The other one will be divorce papers to divorce Marcy. And he will not do the lawsuit unless Randall signs the divorce papers. So Randall doesn't want her, but he's like, look, I don't like her and I want her to suffer. And now that I know she's pregnant by him, I definitely want her to suffer. So with that being said, I don't care. I'll get somebody else to sue my neighbor. I'm not signing those papers. So at this point, Larry is like, I knew you were going to be a stubborn guy. Whatever. I'll just do the lawsuit for free. Don't worry about the divorce papers. You can sign it. Look, you can even read the papers. So Randall signs off on it. At this point, I think that Larry either is going to copy his signature or he, in fact, had him sign the divorce papers thinking that they were the lawsuit papers because he was confident when he left the house. When he left the house and got into his car, he immediately called Ian and left him a voicemail that the papers are signed and he's going to send the documents over to him. Ian is connected to Marcy. Therefore, and this is like a rush situation with this divorce. So I don't think that he would have been calling Ian to leave a voicemail that the papers were signed had he not have had Randall sign the divorce papers rather than the lawsuit papers. But who knows if those papers will ever get to him, because as Larry was getting off the phone, we see Eddie pop up in the back seat with a gun and put the gun to Ian's head, not Ian's head, to Larry's head, and he tells him to shut up and drive. So I really hope this is not another one of those Uncle Rusty storylines and you're gonna like take him out to the wild, out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't like that racist stuff on these types of shows. Like, it drives me insane. But whatever. It wasn't a very climactic ending for me, but it was a decent show. So with that being said, as usual, please like, comment, subscribe, and check me out at mrsblogaholic.com. Bye.